Well, when the movie came to me, I was only on it as an actor, so my capacity was to only play Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. And I started reading about the independence struggle when this movie came to me. And I found that in most books written by a certain leaning kind of people, which were the most popular books on independence, they all had only one paragraph for the armed revolution and the people attached to it, blah, 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 these names are there. They also fought, but nothing happened. So I was like, really? Did they have no effect on the independence movement? So then I started reading more, and then I found some books which were really enlightening, and I saw so much happen to this person, and India was so different. And there are so many things that happened between this time of 1857, which was called a Sepoy Mutiny, to 1947 when we got our independence. And the fact that Mr. Savarkar was the one who changed the perspective of 1857 as not a Sepoy Mutiny, but the first war of independence in 1907. And I was taught in school 1857 a Sepoy Mutiny. So I felt there is something wrong in that. Then I started reading even more, and it infuriated me that the kind of name calling and the kind of stories that have been attached, the names that have been attached to him. And then I went about like, okay, I am going to prove a point here to myself more than anybody else. And then because there was not a proper script in place, then I co-wrote it with my writer friend Utkarsh Naithani. And then circumstances moved and I became the director of it. And then circumstances moved and I became a producer on it. So I think Mr. Savarkar has his good in my heart, in his heart, my good in his heart, that, you know, from just an actor, he's made me a writer, director, producer, and kind of, you know, brought me up, and I was able to show further knowledge of my craft of films in other aspects than just being an actor. It is a fact that no member of the Congress was ever sentenced to Kalapani. Tilakji, because he was a hardliner, was sentenced to Mandalay. So any people who took up arms or took a hard stance against the British, they were arrested and sentenced to places away from the mainland, so they do not even influence the jail inmates over there. Right? Now, who killed his story? We have to see two things. One is Gandhiji's non-violence and one is Congress. Now, the argument that I was given was that Congress was a non-violent party. Why would they be sent to Kalapani for offences which they would probably not do? But is Congress Indian National Congress at that time, was it a non-violent party? Gandhiji was non-violent. In 1948, Mr. Savarkar's younger brother, Dr. Narayan Rao Savarkar, was lynched on Girgaon Chowpatty after Bapu's death, when 8,000 Brahmins were massacred in Maharashtra. Any other freedom fighter's brother, if they went through this, we would all know about it, but nobody knows about it. So there has been a little brushing under the carpet of another side of our history, another aspect of our history which has happened, and that is quite natural to happen as well, because the winners write the story. That dispensation at that time did not want the glory to go to anybody else, and they are the ones who manipulated the knowledge that would come to common people about what transpired. And it was not only one party that got us our independence, and it was not only a few people within that party that did it. There was a larger struggle that happened. Prime Minister Clement Attlee at that time said this 3 times in his speech, that they are now an armed nation. We cannot engage them in talks anymore. And between 1946 and 49, 30 countries were given independence from the British Raj, from the colonial Raj. So we were a part of that. They left because they could not afford it anymore. They had too many losses in the war, they were in too much debt, and they could not run another country. So ultimately, what broke their back was Azad Hind Fauj, because the men who had gone to fight the war were now trained. by the British, and now they were taking up arms from against the British. So there were many factors that happened, and to just say that we got our independence through only non-violence is probably a fallacy. There was a long history, and our armed struggle, there were many people involved, and because of his book itself, it was influential. HSRA, the Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, it was encouraged to read that book before they could join the HSRA, which was headed by Chandrasekhar Azad, of which Bhagat Singh was a member. In the Azad Hind Fauj, they used to give you a gun, a blanket, a uniform, fleet, and a book called 1857 Swatantra Samar. So it has been an inspiration to everybody. And then, as his life can be divided in three parts. One was a romantic revolutionary before he went to the jail, to Kala Pani. There, real revolution hit him, because it's okay to do all those things, but to be incarcerated, and he was sentenced to 50 years. There was a billah that used to hang from his neck, says to be released 1960. A 27-year-old man or 26-year-old man, young man, उस वक्त आदमी होते थे, आजकल बच्चे होते हैं 26 साल के, उसमें आपको 50, you given a sentence of 50 years to be living in a 7x11 cell. What would you do? There's no place to sit, there's no place to eat, you live in that, that's your life. In isolation, they take them out, put you on a kolu, put you back. What would you do? And those mercy petitions, as they are called, were actually bail pleas. That's a bail pleas are an instrument that are available to everybody in a judicial system to appeal your incarceration. That's what he did. He was a lawyer himself. He did not only write for himself, he wrote for many people, and all of them were let go. Only him and his brother Baba Rao Savarkar were not from Kala. He was also in Kala Pani. So that was the process he followed, and he felt that Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed. There is no purpose we are serving by starving ourselves on hunger strikes and getting beaten to death over here. We will not serve the revolution at all. It is our kartavya, dharma, to get out of this place and go back and serve the country. So he tried all of those things. And finally, funnily enough, Dr. Narayan Rao Savarkar, who was lynched after Bapu's murder, had gone to Bapu and asked for his assistance.